Ready to ditch those Valentine's Day cliches, the ones we see everywhere.
Yeah, the usual chocolates, roses, teddy bears.
Exactly. We're aiming for something a little deeper this time around. Instead of just going through the motions, how about we use this Valentine's Day for a little introspection?
Sounds right up our alley.
It is, and we've got the perfect guide to help us along the way. 50 journal prompts for writing on Valentine's Day by Lestallion.
Oh, journaling prompts. I like where this is going.
Right. It's like a shortcut to self-discovery, which is perfect for a day that can bring up so many emotions, whether you're head over heels in love, writing solo, or like somewhere in between.
It's true. Valentine's Day can be a lot, and not always in a good way.
Exactly. So instead of just letting those feelings simmer, why not use those prompts to unpack them? Dig a little deeper.
Now, that's an idea I can get behind. Journaling can be really powerful, It's like that act of putting pen to paper. It allows us to process those emotions,
Oh.
to uncover those hidden patterns in how we approach love and relationships.
It's like giving yourself permission to overthink, but in a productive way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we could all use a little more of, don't you think?
100%. And two prompts that really jumped out at me were about first kisses and last kisses.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It seems simple on the surface, but when you really think about it, those experiences carry so much weight, don't they?
They really do. It's like
Yeah.
that first kiss. It's all about innocence,
Yeah.
excitement, right? Those butterflies you never forget. But then those last kisses.
Oh, don't even get me started on last kisses.
Sometimes they're bittersweet, marking the end of a chapter. But other times they represent growth, a shift in how we love.
Whoa, okay. You just took that to a whole other level for me. I was stuck on the nostalgia of first kisses, but you're right. Those last kisses, those are where things get really interesting. It's like, do they represent a full stop at the end of a sentence, or is it more of an ellipsis, leaving room for what comes next?
Exactly. And that's what I love about these prompts that make you realize that Valentine's Day isn't just about where you're at right now. It's about your whole history with love. Every heartbreak, every lesson, every time you pick yourself back up and try it again.
It's about seeing the through lines in your own love story.
Precisely.
Oh.
And hopefully you cringe a little less at those early chapters as you go, right?
Oh, tell me about it. Speaking of those early chapters, remember that time I tried to play it cool and totally botched my first kiss? Let's just say there's a reason I never brought it up again.
Oh, you have to tell me more about this later.
Yeah.
But, as awkward as those early attempts can be, it's through those fumbles that we figure out how to connect with other humans, right? How to navigate this whole messy dance of relationships.
That's one way to put it. But, some of us prefer to skip the awkward fumbling and go straight to the main event. Which, you guessed it, leads us to those juicy prompts about blind dates and proposals.
Talk about two completely different approaches to new beginnings.
Right.
It's like with a blind date, you're embracing the unknown, putting yourself out there, hoping for a spark. But then with proposals, you're taking this huge leap of faith with someone you already know deeply.
Right.
Fascinating.
And terrifying, let's be honest. Although, those proposal prompts, those really resonate with me for some reason. Maybe it's the writer in me, but there's something so powerful about crafting a vision of the future with another person, You're building something together, and these prompts, they make you examine the foundation of that. What's the glue holding it all together?
Exactly. It makes you think about what really matters.
Right. Yeah.
If you were to write that proposal, or even just envision it, what values would be at the heart of that commitment? And how much of it is colored by those past experiences we were talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Those last kisses, those heartbreaks, they definitely inform what we look for in a partner, how much we're willing to risk.
For sure. And, in a world that's so focused on instant gratification, fleeting connections, taking the time for those deeper reflections, it becomes even more important, especially, when we start thinking about those prompts about love letters.
You read my mind, because seriously, who even writes letters anymore? But the way this source frames it as this radical act of service, it's brilliant.
Right. In this digital age, it's like revolutionary.
It is.
Think about it. You're slowing down, choosing your words carefully, being intentional with your expression. In a world of emojis and fleeting texts, a handwritten letter, that's a statement.
It's like you're giving the gift of your undivided attention, which honestly might be the rarest, most valuable gift these days.
It's so true. And, one of the most important things these prompts highlight is that Valentine's Day doesn't have to be all about romantic love.
It's like before you can love someone else, you gotta, love yourself first, right?
It's that whole can't pour from an empty cup thing.
Exactly. And Valentine's Day can be a good reminder to fill our own cups first.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant either. Even just those small acts of self-kindness, those can make a world of difference.
Totally. Like treat yourself to your favorite takeout, spend the afternoon reading.
Right. Whatever fills your cup.
Exactly. It's like giving yourself permission to celebrate you.
I love that.
Which, speaking of celebrating, there's this other prompt that I thought was great. It's the one about appreciating your friends. Because, let's be real, platonic love is powerful stuff.
So true. And it often gets, like, overshadowed, especially around Valentine's Day.
Right. It's like we're so focused on finding the one that we forget about all the amazing people who are already in our lives.
It's easy to do.
It is. And these prompts, they remind us to reach out to our friends, tell them how much we appreciate them, nurture those bonds that make life richer.
It's a good reminder that love isn't this finite resource that we have to, like, ration out. It can flow in so many directions towards our partners, our friends, our families, and ourselves. And speaking of love flowing in different directions, those prompts about challenging the commercialization of Valentine's Day, those really resonated with me.
Oh, I knew you'd go there. But before you launch into a full-blown manifesto against greeting card companies, I just gotta say, I do love a good bouquet.
Oh, no judgment here.
Yeah.
But it's true. Valentine's Day can feel like this pressure cooker of expectations,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to spending money.
It's like all of a sudden we need diamonds and fancy dinners to prove we care. But these prompts, they encourage us to get creative, to think outside the chocolate box, right? Literally.
Exactly. How can we express love authentically without buying into all the hype?
Right. Like maybe it's a handwritten letter or a home-cooked meal or, a day trip to a favorite spot.
Those gestures can mean so much more.
Because it's the thought that counts, right?
Exactly.
Although, full disclosure, if my partner is listening, I'm still a sucker for a good bouquet. Just saying.
Duly noted. But what's really interesting is how these prompts, they encourage a shift in mindset that we can carry with us beyond just this one day a year.
So it's less about those grand gestures and more about finding those little ways to show love and appreciation all year round, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, imagine if we approached every interaction, every relationship with that same intentionality.
Okay, now you're getting deep. But you're right. What if we took the spirit of Valentine's Day, the good parts anyway, and made it more of a habit, not just a holiday?
And that brings us back to the heart of this whole deep dive, doesn't it? It's about helping you, the listener, find more meaning in Valentine's Day, no matter what your relationship status is.
We've explored first kisses and last kisses, blind dates and proposals, love letters, self-love, even thrown a little shade at greeting card companies along the way.
It's been quite a journey. But, as always, we want to leave you with something to ponder, something to spark your own reflections.
To get those wheels turning.
Exactly. So here it is.
What if instead of just, getting through Valentine's Day, we use it as a starting point, like a launch pad for being more thoughtful, more loving, and not just on February 14th, but, all the time.
It's a whole different way of thinking about it, isn't it?
Right. Like, how would that change things? How we interact with the people we care about, how we treat ourselves. It's kind of intimidating when you really think about it.
It is. It's
So-
definitely easier to fall back on those old habits, those autopilot ways of being.
For sure. But these journal prompts, they remind us that we have a choice. We get to decide what Valentine's Day, what love really means to us.
And that's powerful stuff.
It really is. It's like those cheesy greeting cards, the ones we were talking about earlier. They just got a serious upgrade.
Right. From roses are red to, really dissecting our deepest desires and fears when it comes to love. And it's all thanks to taking the time to journal, to really think about these things.
Exactly. Because it's not even just about the prompts themselves. It's about what they unlock, inside of us.
It's about those aha moments you get while you're writing, those realizations that maybe you weren't even aware of before.
And then taking those insights and actually doing something with them, like weaving them into your everyday life.
Whether you're, journaling every day or just pausing to appreciate that perfectly brewed cup of coffee.
That's a great way to put it. It's about those small moments and how they add up to something bigger.
Because love, in all its messy, complicated beauty, it's a practice, It's not just this feeling that washes over us.
And who knows, maybe embracing that practice, making it more intentional, and maybe that's the secret to, the most meaningful Valentine's Day ever.
Maybe it is.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive, but hopefully this gets you thinking about love and relationships in a whole new light.
And maybe even inspires you to pick up a journal and do a little exploring of your own.
That's what we like to hear.
Mhm.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.